Let's build a cellular repeater so the customer can get cellular internet down at their property. Large lot, but down in a deep valley. They went ahead and built the solar array, but we have other options available. So let's get started with the prototyping. Project review and prototyping. Take one. All right, the customer wants to build a cell tower repeater on their property. And it's 100 acres, so we need to have a fair amount of distance to repeat the cell tower from the location of where you can get a cell coverage down to the property. The customer bought and purchased a Vatrer 24-volt lithium battery with a heater. I'll put a little picture here. Stand by. Picture. Then the 8D battery classically is this shape. So it's about it's about that size there. There we go. Look at that. It's about 10.5 inches wide, 20 inches long, and it's about 8 inches tall, 8.5. So then I ordered a plastic box which will hold 2 8D batteries. I think I mentioned that the Vatrer is this almost the shape of an 8D battery. Yeah, this is the Concord 8D battery schematic. Anyway, get back on track. I ordered a battery box, a plastic molded, injection molded box, I guess, that can hold 2 8Ds. One over here and one over here. It's got a lid. It's got some cable entries. I'm going to add some vents. And then I thought to myself, what I'll do is I'll make a table in the size. Well, this is shorter than an 8D battery, but it's the same width and the same length as an 8D battery. I want to be lower because I'll tell you why. Why? I'm going to put a solar charge controller like this from Victron. That's got to fit. And the customer chose a 24-volt battery. And so I got a Victron 24-volt inverter. And then I don't know if I need the rest of the. Yeah, I do need this. I need some breakers, overcurrent protection. Boy, we're getting tight in here, aren't we? For the charge controller, a 50. For the inverter, a 30. I need a 40 there. That's fine. For the solar input and for the accessory output. Accessory like cooling fans or whatever's accessories. Now, I don't know. That's a Bluetooth battery. The Bluetooth battery might be Bluetoothable remotely via this relay that we're building. Not sure. But anyway, if it's not, put a smart shunt in there. And then lastly, but not leastly, Servo GX. This is the fancier GX. It has tank sensors and stuff. Right there, you see those? Tank sensors. You can get one that doesn't have that. Maybe it's necessary. Maybe there's a third Victron product that doesn't have much except to get me from VE bus data of the inverter and of the charge controller to the internet for VRM, virtual remote monitoring. Yeah, there's also the VE direct. But I do know that the Servo does have that. Let's see, put this like this, put this over here. Oh, geez. See, this plate being my restriction of 8D means I have to be real creative in laying this out where I can still, no, that's not going to work. Where I can still plug stuff in. I got to be able to have room to plug in the VE direct cables, VE bus, VE direct. It says so right here. And this is such a sweet thing. This is basically, I guess this is kind of like a custom-made Raspberry Pi kind of device, crammed in there with the software and all these ports. A super amount of I/O. I like using these. They're very nice for this application. Now, here's my challenge. I'm going to rotate everything around where I can get everything to fit. I may skip the Servo. I've got to have a room for the plug, or the plug to go in the receptacle here, and have to have some room. I don't know that I need this large of a charge controller, but I tried to standardize on a size so that I have the same one in a box. I think I can get by with the 7520 or 75. Do they have a 25? I don't know. I can get by with the smaller one here, but I tried, like I said, I tried to standardize on 3 modules in series, 3 60 cell modules in series, for the various reasons of that would supply most everybody. Huh, I'm sweaty and dirty. Should go wash my hands. Okay, I digress. All right, let me figure out a scheme that gets everything to fit. I did make this little table that I've made on a very slight slant in the box. So when you open that box, everything's here presented to you. Also, I have to maintain a height restriction of whatever that number is, the height of a 8D battery. So I think we're under that now. And then I will also generate some room for heat to load up the ceiling of the box, and then to be ventilated with some fans, because we got to. Turns out, here we are in the shop. I've got these fans that I have removed from Schneider 600 volt charge controllers. So, well, this one doesn't appear to be one that's working. Well, maybe it is. Get this one out and look at it. Oh yeah, brand new, gonna work. So I can vent the box with these fans, and if I have a servo, I can easily connect up a relay and tell the relay to operate when the box gets hot. When the temperature sensor of the battery monitor gets hot, turn on the relay to cool the box down. Ever how cool it can get, it will. So there's that. Let's see what happens next. Let me arrange everything. If I can get everything to fit, I will paint this prototype, and you'll see what happens next. Stand by. Prototype number 2. I needed a lot more real estate, so I doubled the surface area by adding a back wall, a back plate. The bottom plate, back plate. Still have the inverter, charge controller, Servo GX, shunt, and some breakers. Now, I will try to rearrange this one more time to see if I can get just a little bit better fitment. Prototype number 3. Let me get my pointer because, you know, I gotta be cool. Servo GX, breaker array, smart shunt. It's getting late today. Inverter and charge controller. Now, the charge controller's natural convection is a vertical orientation, so I got that. And the inverter's natural convection is ambiguous. I'll say it that way, ambiguous. It has vents on one side, and I think there's a fan right there, or maybe the fan's on the other side. I don't know. It could be natural convection. Yeah, and I have just enough room to route some wire. Keep in mind these wires don't have to be large. We're not going to run no 4-aught cable here. I think a number 8 will be my wire of choice for all the current sizes I need, number 8. Maybe really number 10 would be sufficient, to be honest with you. But number 8 probably. Number 8, come around, battery cable. I think I'll go, let me see. I think I'll go this way up with the battery cables and over to the terminals of the battery. That's where they are. And then I'll go this way, actually, well, from the plugger out, up and over to the little power strip that'll be sitting on the battery that has the router and the cellular gateway, which will just be laying on the battery for convenience sake. Now, I could also mount that router right here. Haha, see? Brainstorming. We'll see how it fits. I may have to make a custom power cord that goes from here to there. Whatever. Anyway, I'm getting the weeds. Prototype. Now, let me peel all of this off. Prime and paint this piece of wood. Yes, wood. So, in the future, maybe I should get myself a 3D printer. Can I print something this big? Boy, I sure would be nice, wouldn't it? I used to have a brake and a shear for aluminum. I don't have that. But here we are. Here we are. We're making stuff. On to the next step. All right. Go blue. This is where we're at so far. I put some black primer, and then I used Rust-Oleum paint on it. It's hammered gray, I think it's called. So, here we are. Everything's roughed in, bolted down. So now what I'll do is make custom length cables to go every single wire that has to go somewhere. Now for the, let me get this over here. For the Victron communication between inverter, charge controller, and the shunt, Victron makes these cables VE direct. So I think they don't make very many different lengths of them. Here's, I think this is a 12 or 13 inch. Well, it's all in metric, you know. But I will get enough of these to go between everybody. Now, I know you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. I can get to all this just fine. Put that over there so I don't break it. How do I get to the wire this charge controller? Well, I thought of it. See, if I slide this forward, not too far, and then just lay it down this way, I can easily get in there to get my wires in the terminals, plug in my VE direct cable there, and then start from here by putting everything in, and then bring like excess cable to the front here. Let me flip it back over. Excess cable out of there, neatly bent and arranged and terminated where it goes. And that'll be fine. The inverter is visible. The Servo JX is visible. This is visible. The battery cables will leave out of here and go around, or they'll leave, you know, from here and go up and over to the battery, which will be located here. Yeah, UPS should be bringing that battery box. Let's see what time it is. 3 o'clock. Okay, any minute that he comes reliably between, well, 1 and 4, but usually it's right around 3 o'clock. So, should be fine to go get that. That'll be nice to make sure this three-dimensional shape does occupy the space of that battery box. So, let me get some wiring done, go check the UPS box, and report back. Status update, 1633 hours. We have managed to mount everything and wire everything. Well, almost everything. I have to go get 2 more Victron 1 foot long VE direct cables. I had one here. There's more in an inventory somewhere. I know where it's at. But 1 for the inverter, 1 for the charge control. This goes right here somewhere. 1 for the charge controller into the Servo GX. I think I heard the UPS truck go down the road. Has a very distinct sound. You know, the gate flopping in the back and the probably the 454 big block. Here we go. So, let me go get that battery box and a couple of VE direct cables. Boot all this up and program this thing and that thing. And I don't know there's much programming to do here. Anyway. Oh yeah, and get the Bluetooth app for that battery. The Vatrer. Yeah, I don't know how to say that word. Vatrer. Stand by. Here we go. This, right? 44 pounds. All right, this is the 8D double 8D battery box. Let's see. It's a molded plastic. I always have trouble with the flaps. Oh yeah, this is not bad. It's a little thinner than I thought it was going to be. Thin's fine. See, it's a double 8D battery box, so it'll fit 2 8D batteries. And then here's the knobs to make the lid stay on. I'll put those aside. So let me go get the battery and put in here, and put everything else in here right quick, so I can just see that everything's going to fit. I don't know if I can lift it that high. Okay, I will say that the Vatrer battery is less weight than the lead acid version, but it's still an epically heavy. What is this, 60 pounds? I don't know. Okay, not bad. The lead acid version is 125. Okay, there, that fits. Obviously it fits in there. And then I'll put the handles down like this. Now let me get this. Let me grab this. The moment of truth. I need to push that back all the way. And this will fall or fit right in there. It's as if somebody planned this. Sensor. This is the temperature sensor and the separate battery voltage measurements cable. Okay, now where's that little bag of metric screws? Oh well, I got some. And then the negative, that's for the battery. The negative cable goes there, nice. Positive cable goes there. I guess I'll make these two agree with each other. I'll put the battery cable first and then I'll put the sensor cable next. All right, this actually does fit in there. And the lid goes on. Let's double check the lid goes on. I'm sure it does. Oh, and also on this is got cable ways. So I need to remember to bring some material, foam or whatnot, to go into these to block the entries that aren't going to have cables, to keep this from being a nice apartment for a mouse or a gecko. These, you know what I mean? So solar cables come in here. The cellular antenna comes in here. I have just enough room for the modem to be right here, cellular modem, or maybe just down here, or maybe mounted to this plate here, this side wall. So there's room there for the cellular modem. It's about that big, 4 by 6 or so. All right, let's see if the lid fits. You know the rule. If it fits, it ships. Look at that. No problem. This is real nice. All right, let me take it all apart so I can unload it from the truck, because delivery is not until Wednesday. Oh wait, tomorrow is Wednesday. Just-in-time manufacturing. I don't have to unload this. I will go find those metric bolts. Go ahead and boot everything up. Program the charge controller. Yeah, I got to go get 2 more VE direct cables from the inventory. Program this Servo GX for what it's expecting. I'll have to move it to the Wi-Fi of the customer. And that's that. All right, stand by. Let me go get some bolts and I'll actually do the boot up and commissioning process. And action. All right. That's tight. I'll get a torque wrench on that, I guess. Okay, let me put this little cap on. Put this little cap on. All right, let me look down in there. I can see, yep, the Bluetooth blinky light on the smart shunt's blinking. I'll probably get a couple more tie wraps to secure everybody. Make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. That's good. This is Bluetooth as well, so I'll get the Bluetooth action going. I did read the Vatrer manual. It says if you're using an MPPT charge controller, set the charge limit and the over voltage and the reconnection and the low voltage and all that stuff. So I'll do that. And the capacity, of course, on the smart shunt will be set to 200 amp hours. 200 amp hours. All right. I might wind up using these 2 100 watt panels in series for this project. They're 12 volt nominal. He has some foldable panels already available, and so we'll see if that works. I think he also has 3 60 cell 200 watt panels from a while back. So this is how we got it temporarily wired up to make sure it works. Everything is running. I got a bulk light on. Servo is on and running, waiting for a Wi-Fi. Or maybe it's working actually. That inverter is on. And so I will add this to VRM and then make sure everything's working. The battery voltage was 26 volts. So I'll switch to the Bluetooth app now. You can see some of the data. All right, loaded up to go up the hill. Solar power. All right, we're getting close. Got power, little power strip here. I mounted the radio, the cellular modem. Here's a pro tip. Use this important silicon grease compound. So you have a better chance of having a more watertight, less corrosive connection. So I just put this on the terminals of the Ethernet jack and then plug it in. Everywhere I have one of those, I put this on there. So do that. All right, let's get the solar hooked up and see if it actually works. All right, here we go. We have a MIMO antenna, M-I-M-O. It's got 4 bands there. I can see 4 wires. It's probably 5G and LTE, 2 bands of each. Coming down to our coax group, and then into our system box. We're all booted up and everything is working. Like I explained before, Vatrer battery, Bluetooth, smart shunt, inverter. That's my little reset pin that I made. Charge controller, we're running about 400 watts. I'll show you that on the VRM or on the Bluetooth section. And then turbo, our uplink, I guess. And then the repeater is here. It goes down the hill and faces the house. So that's a wrap. Let me get the lid, put it on, and then we'll consider maybe what we need to do about ventilation. It's in the shade, and we'll see if ventilation is needed or not. So that is that. I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe.